Hey there, and welcome to this video about the questionnaire assignment. In this video we will do most of this assignment. I will show you how you can do this, and we will probably go to, I think, around 8 or something. We're not going to do the extra hard exercises here, but at least 8 we will go to, and I have already built the UI, set up the UI. I will show you how I have set it up, and then you can maybe replicate, but I will not do the entire UI in this video because it will take too long to do this. So let's get started here. This is a JavaFX project that we need to do in IntelliJ, and I already have a project lined up here also to save a bit time in the video so we don't get too long here, but we can see that we have a project, and just for your information, you can create a new JavaFX project on new and file and new and project, and then selecting JavaFX. Don't take Java. This will only create a normal Java console application, so you don't have JavaFX. So you need to take JavaFX here to make it work, and Liberica. So, and the variation can change. Now we have Liberica 24, and if you choose 19 or 23, this probably will work. Otherwise, you can download a new JDK. Do not take OpenJDK when you're doing JavaFX because it does not include JavaFX libraries. Okay, so that is pretty much it, I think. But I have a project already set up here, and I have created some of the, or all the files, but I have no content in them. So we can see here they're empty, but I have created a controller package in the GUI package with main controller and questionnaire controller. Then we have a main. Let me zoom a little bit maybe on this so we can see that we basically have a main method that will run application launch, and this basically only just starts this start method down here that will load the first window called main view. And we can see that this is in the same file. You probably have maybe a launcher.java and then another file. So this is split up, but it is okay to actually have these two methods in the same file. That is perfectly okay. So that's why we have main here, because we have the main method down here. We also have main view, questionnaire view. I'm going to show you this in a minute. So let's just get into this and see how we can build this. So the assignment says here that we should create JavaFX. We've done this. We need to rename a lot of files here. Main window, we need to create a controller. We have that. Remember to change the controller name in the fxml file. Test by running the program. So yeah, we can see here. So we can see if we head over to IntelliJ, we can see that if we go down to the start, we have main view. It's going to launch that the normal way. And if we go to main view, let me zoom a little bit again here. We have, so what we can see, I'm going to show you this in SceneBuilder as well, don't worry, but we also have the controller where we link up this fxml with main controller, and we can see that if we don't have this fx controller, it will not work. So you can type in fx controller, and you can either search for dk.esv.questionnaire-maven, or you can just type in main controller, and then IntelliJ will probably find it for you. So that's good. And it has to be exact. So if you modify this in any way or the casings, it will be a problem. It can't find the controller. So let's see. So if we open up this in SceneBuilder, let's go and check and see. This is pretty basic. We have the button here, no on action, no FX ID. We have a text field that has txt name, and we have a list view, also with an FX ID. So that's it. The questionnaire window is a bit more complex. We can see that we have a lot of different controls lined up here. We have a V-box that will organize components vertically. We can see we have an H box that has the name of participant, and then we have two H boxes in the bottom with different buttons and labels, and then we have a grid pane that holds the main thing in this view here. We could say we have all the questions, we have a lot of radio buttons, and each radio button is organized into a toggle group that will allow us to, or prevent us from being able to select multiple radio buttons at the same time. And we can work with this in the controller as well. So that's the way this is lined up. Yeah. So let's close this one again here. So what does it say in the assignment here? So we can see if we want to run the program, let me just allow me to remove this configuration here. So maybe you have current file when you start up a new project. So what you can do is you can right click on main, because main is the starting point of the application. So this is where you have the main methods, and you can also click on this this play button here. So if we run main here, we can see we have a program with nothing works. So let's fix that, and now we can see we have a configuration that will allow us to basically, wherever we are in the project, we will be able to start the program. So a very handy feature that we have this. Okay, so let's go back and let's see. Oh, let's go back here. Let's see. We have the button. We need a text field. We also have this. So we already did number 1 and 2. And then we can see we have a grid pane lined up here. I showed you that as well. Make the grid pane fill. I think I have 9 questions maybe. Same as we have here. So we have this setup here. So most of this first part of the assignment is about setting up the UI of the application here. So now comes the fun part, because we have this, and first off, yes, of course we need to start this view here. We can see here, create a button on the main window, make the button open a new FXML window. Okay, so we need to do a little bit of work here in 2, but that should be pretty easy. Yes, so let's go back here. So how do we create a new window, or we launch a new window? Well, we already have some code in the main file here, and we can see we have something in the start method where we launch the main view. So if we copy that and put this into our main controller, we can see if we zoom out here, we have nothing right now. But if we go to the main view in SceneBuilder, we have this very nice layout here. And what we need to do, we have an FX ID, so that is good. We need to, first off, we need to just launch the new window, and we need to use the button for that. And ultimately, we also need to get the name in there. But let's first just start with opening the window. So what we can do is we need to start this on action to attach an event handler to this button here. So what should we call it? Maybe we should call it on-click fill questionnaire. it can be anything. It is what you think is relevant and makes sense for you. So I put this here. This will be the name of the event handler. So let's click or hit save on this and go back. So now if we head over to main view, we can see we have of course, the text field. We also have this on action now. So, and IntelliJ tells us that it cannot find the method here. So that is because we have not created it in the controller, because you can see we've associated the main controller with this fxml file, but we have nothing in the controller. So what we can do is we can just have IntelliJ auto-generate it for us. So we can see now we get a very, very nice event handler where we can work with this. So this is what we need to, this is the method that will be triggered when we click the button. So I'm going to copy the code in here. And we probably have some errors here. We can see, first off, we have load. Load will throw an IO exception. That means something might happen to the file here. Maybe the operating system or another program will modify this file or lock it or whatever can happen. And this might cause an unexpected exception here. So we need to handle this, and we will handle this kind of the lazy way. We will just add the method or the exception to the method signature, that it will throw an IO exception. This means that it will just basically re-throw the exception. So it's going to throw the error to whoever called this. And this will ultimately be the main method, because this is where we start. So the consequence will be that this program will crash if we have the exception. So we should handle this in a better way, but it's for another video. This is an okay way to do it right now. But now this is okay for this. We can see that if we go to main, we actually get a stage that we will work on here, but we don't have this in the main controller, the start stage. So what I will do is I will just create a stage right there. And let me just see here. Oh, maybe we should just put it up here, and we can write stage, and we will set the scene that will, and the scene will hold the root of our fxml, and we also need to modify our fxml file here. Let me just see here, because we need to launch the questionnaire view. And I think IntelliJ says there is a typo. Oh my god, that is not good. Maybe double N. Oh, okay, this is for another video to correct that. We have provided questionnaire view. This is what is in here, and it has to match exactly. Also regarding casing, and no modifications, otherwise you will have an error to this. So let's see. Yeah, let's just try to launch this. See what happens. Let's go here and click OK. All right, so now we have a new window opening, but we have no, and I can open multiple windows, I think. So that's also a problem. Okay, let's modify this. So I think there is probably an assignment later on where you need to use some modal. Yes, there is something there. So let's just wait with that. But we need to get the name. You see it says Jeppe here, so we need to actually include the name of whoever, whatever name you typed in here. So how do we do that? Well, fortunately we have a text field called txt_name that we can use to communicate with, and we can get the input from the user. And we can pass this along to the questionnaire view, so that's pretty nice. So what we will do first we need to get a handle of this text field here, so we can see that it has an FX ID. This is brilliant. I can take this tooltip here, create field, txt name, and this will give me a private instance variable, txt name, and then I can use this. So before I show my scene here, I can do like this. I can get name from txt and pass to questionnaire controller. So we can do something like this, where we write questionnaire controller. Then we can use the loader to get the controller of our new window, questionnaire controller. And then I can talk to the controller, communicate with this object here. And then we don't have this method yet, but we could make a method called setName, which will tell this new window, questionnaire view, and the controller what is the name of the person who want to fill out this questionnaire. So we could, one way could be to write txt name and then get text. So that would pass along the input here that I type into the text field and just display it in there. But of course we don't have this method yet. It says cannot resolve method. And if we look into the questionnaire controller, oh, that is small text. Let's just zoom a bit here. We have nothing, so that's a problem. So what we can do, let's just again let IntelliJ do this. Boom. Let's just. So now we have the method here, and if we look inside the questionnaire controller and the FXML file, we can see if it launches up, we have a label here. What is it called? It's called a label name. So we might be able to take advantage of this and just add our name to this. So what we could do is we could, and this is a pretty comprehensive file here, so let me just find label name. Let's get a handle to that as well. We have a field, label name. So we will do, and if you don't have this, just for to be in order here, if you don't get this tooltip where you can have IntelliJ generated for you, then it's perfectly okay to just write it yourself. You can see here, if we, let me just make an example here. So let's say we didn't have this underline, or we didn't get this this option here to have IntelliJ generated. We could just write private, it's a label name, and then we would need to attach this FXML annotation, and we can also get this, you can see we get this symbol here that indicates that this is linked to an FXML file. And I think maybe I can click on it. Yes, then it will go directly to where it is linked to. So pretty handy feature where you can watch what this is linked to, and that it is actually linked. So if I remove it, I cannot see if it's linked to anything. So good feature. So label name, set text, and then we yeah, now it becomes a bit maybe a bit weird, because we can see that it says name of participant, and I need to add the name here. Maybe I should divide it into two, so one label here, another label here, but now we just have it here. So this could be an exercise for you guys, for you to try this out. So I'm just going to copy the name of participant here. I'm going to add it here, and then I'm going to concatenate text. So we just basically take what is already there and we add the text of it. I'll make a header for this, so we have some sort of a set name of participant. Yes, so if we go back now into our main controller, we can see that, oh, see, this is a good one here. Set name has private access. We need to, okay, package private. This is because it has made the new method here private, and we have another class, main controller, that needs to communicate with this. So what we could do, we could either do public. This is one way. This will make it available to everybody. The other way could be that we do protected. And protected is about the next level from private. Then we can, private is ultimately closed. We can't use it. This is only inside the class that we can use private. So private will not work because we have another class and another object that wants to communicate with it. But fortunately, protected will allow classes, objects from the same package. So the same package GUI controller we can see there in the same package will also be one that we can use here. So now main controller is not angry anymore. Now it has the required visibility to call this method. Yes. So let's see what happens if we launch the program again. Let's write something here. Yeah, name of participant, son. Very good. Nothing else works, but we have a name. All right, so let's go back here. Let's check up on the assignment here. So now I think we did this part here where we launched the program and launched the new window with the name. So now we need to go all the way down to 5, I think. Yes, so next add a button to calculate the satisfaction score. So we have this calculate score. We can fill out the radio buttons. It should be able to calculate the score. We have agree, +1, neutral 0, disagree -1. And when the button is clicked, we calculate the score over here. So how do we do that? Well, let's go back. So we need to work a bit on the questionnaire controller, and so we're not going to focus on the main controller right now, but I've seen something I probably maybe need to correct here, because I can see questionnaire controller, $N, $N in questionnaire view. So I will actually, I think I'm going to refactor this, rename this into $N. So we have consistency in the naming, because that is what we talk a lot about. So questionnaire, and then I can get rid of all my naming, spelling, and see, this might be a problem here because my event handler is called onClick fill questionnaire. See, one way we could do this is that I could go in here, I could just close down SceneBuilder. So I close down SceneBuilder and then I rename it here. So I have questionnaire, and we can see instantly it becomes gray. And this indicates to us that now this is not linked in any way. We don't have a button that has been linked to this. I think if I do this again, no. But yeah, you can see now this is gray. I probably would have an error as well. Yeah, I have an error. If we go to the main view, I think it is, we also have an error here, because we can see that this is also with a single N. I just type in an N here. So I'm changed the event handler from inside. I can do this because I don't have SceneBuilder open. That will maybe be angry with me on this. So yes, but if you don't feel like it, just keep it with this this way. Yeah. So we did a bit of refactoring. Let's just see. So it's still working here, which is all right. Yeah, I can see these parts up here are still with single, so this would be too heavy to modify that with double end. So let's keep it here. Okay, so we should go to the questionnaire controller. And what we need to do, let's see if I can open this one up in SceneBuilder. So we can see here, if we expand a bit on this, if we zoom it. So we have this calculate score button, and let's just inspect the code here. We don't have an FX ID, we don't have an on action. And we, of course, we need this in order to make this work in the controller. So we can call this, what should we call it? On click calculate. On click calculate. Yes. So we save that. Go back to IntelliJ. If we head over to our questionnaire view, now we can see somewhere in this huge file. I think if I go all the way down, you can use this help over here in the right side of IntelliJ. You can see there is something, a red marking along the orange ones, but we can see this one has not been resolved, cannot resolve simple, create method. We will do this. So again, it's the same thing. We just need to generate our event handler. And it is okay here to do private, because this is only the controller and the fxml file that need to work together, and we have the fxml annotation that will allow us to allow the view to communicate with the controller. So that is okay to do private here. Okay, so what we could do here, what do we need to do? Yes, this will involve a couple of steps. We need to create, or we could create an array of toggle groups. Yes, then we also need to create a local variable score, maybe. And then we need to iterate through each question and update score. Yes. So, so ultimately, we would like to find out the score. We want to calculate the score, and we could do this in this event handler here. But we can see this event handler is marked with the signature, so it says void here. So I can't modify this with integer here. Normally here it's going to be, or maybe I could, but this is a generated method that works between the fxml file and the controller. So I would rather have to do this in a new method here. So we could do int score, and then we can make a new method called calculate score, and then we would do all this in there, and then I would probably do let me just see one thing here, because if I go to questionnaire view, we can see that we have the score, and I think I actually, Yes, I separated this so I have a label score value and a label score text. So this way I have separated this, which I didn't do up here in the name of participant. So, but I have a label score value. So if we go back here, I could write label score value. I don't have it right now, but I could do it when I have the score. So yeah, what we could do, let's just create this method first. It will tell us that it cannot resolve this method, which is very, very fair because I didn't create it in the controller. So let's just create a method, and then you can see it actually reads this code here and says, okay, you want to create a method that has to be the output, or it's going to be the input for a variable that is integer. So it will automatically create a return type of int here, which is pretty nice. And then I just put this in here. I think if we should be okay, we should create these auto headers here for button calculate score. I know it takes a bit of time to do that, to write the text here, but it's good for future developers or when you want to read the code after some time again here. So yeah, we will do this just in a minute, but this one here, let's just see if we can actually let's see if we can find the label score. This was the text. Where's the value? It is there. So now we have the label score value, and let's go here and say label score value set text. Okay. So now we have a problem because we can see that the label complains about the typing mismatch. We see required type of string because it's a text, and we're giving it an integer. So we could either do parse to int or to string, sorry. We could do this. That would be a fine way to do it. You will probably also experience code where they do like this. Kind of maybe the I wouldn't say, but maybe hacker approach, where you just attach this, concatenate an empty string, and it will convert the entire result here to text. Yes. All right, so let's just make a quick check here. If we have this create local variable score, this means we will have to create a score local variable 0, or maybe just -1 for now, just to test it. And this is a local variable inside this method here. This is another local variable. So not the same, and they only have scoping inside. They're only visible inside of these methods. So they are local variable as opposed to instance variables. Important to notice. But in order to make this method work here, we will do everything in here, but this needs an integer in return. So we're going to write return score. I think it complains a bit. It's redundant. Maybe let's just ignore this. We will calculate this, put it in here. Let's see what happens. Of course, we haven't really calculated anything, but let's just check. So calculate score -1. Ooh, brilliant. But nothing works actually, so we need to work a bit more on this. All right, let's go back quickly to the assignment here. Okay, so calculate score should calculate the score where agree +0 and -1. Yes, so okay. How do we do this? Well, one way we can do this is we need to iterate through a lot of things, and one of the ways we could do this is that we have these toggle buttons we can see here. if we go to properties, we have this toggle group, Q1, and I think actually we have many. Yeah. And they will prevent us, or prevent the user from being able to select multiple of these radio buttons in the same group, because we cannot agree and disagree at the same time. At least not in this one here. So we have the toggle groups, and they will help us a lot here. So what we could do, if we look inside of the questionnaire view, let me see if I can find it maybe. Let's go through all the different toggle views. You can see each of these toggle groups when you assign them in IntelliJ, or sorry, in SceneBuilder. When you write this toggle group here, it should create an FX ID on the first radio button. It says disagree here. And then on the other ones, it's going to say, you see here, the next one, agree, will be also Q1. Neutral, also Q1, and Q1 here. So this should be present on all your radio button, this lineup here, this pattern. So we can see, if we take the first, let me just see if I can do this. The first one here, the first radio button, has this toggle group. And this should be something that SceneBuilder does automatically. So when you go here and you write Q1, and then you just select Q1, SceneBuilder should write all this FXML code. That will tell the controller that these 3 radio buttons are part of this toggle group. So that should match all the way down. If SceneBuilder will not write this code, you can write it yourself directly in the FXML here. All right, but if we go back here, we can see, if we go back into the questionnaire controller, we need to get access to all these toggle groups. So we could write FXML toggle group, and we could, it says here Q1, Q3, I'm just going to do this. Oh, like this. So now we have all the different toggle groups that we have in our FXML. Now, we could do this a more dynamic way, of course, because this is pretty static, because if we need to add a new question, we would need to modify our Java files and our FXML, and we would need to recompile the entire program, and this is not optimal. So we would probably refactor this code into a more dynamic approach, where we're using some lists, arrays, and then we would iterate over this, make a loop that iterates through this array. But for now, in this project, it is okay. We can always refactor this. So now we have a group of toggle groups, and what we could do now is we could create an array, toggle group, questions, and then I can use this special way of declaring and assigning an array at the same time. So we just add all the different questions to our array here. And this way, and of course, yeah, again, this could be made more dynamic here, but we will just use this approach for now. And then we have to iterate through each question and update the score. So we will do a, let's see, a for loop, or an enhanced for loop that will allow us to take each toggle question. Oh, and then we have a semicolon. Oh, okay. Questions. So For each question in our list of questions, we will do something. So maybe make sure this question is not null. Could be one thing. So if question is not null, oh, not the entire list, but just this one question. So if this question is not null, then we will do something. Then if we look into question, we can see we can get the selected toggle. So that's pretty nice. So this will be the selected radio button that we have selected. We can get out here. And now this will get us a toggle. Yeah, see here, JavaFX scene control toggle. And of course there is a radio button inside of the toggle. So we can write radio button, and then, oh, now we need to import the class. And if we don't get it, you can just write this import here. So now we are importing this one here, and it will say, okay, we have a type mismatch because this will give us a toggle, but we want to save this as a radio button. And let's see if I can go to, oh no. Radio button is a more specific type of toggle. But we know that it is in fact radio buttons because we can see we added radio buttons, but we added it to a toggle group. So it is actually a radio button that sits inside here. And if we inspect the tooltip here, it says cast expression to radio button. So, and let's just write it ourselves, radio button. So we will tell IntelliJ to cast the toggle into a radio button that we know it is. So now we can see here, we can get the text. I think we can get text. And what we could do, we can write an if statement. Now we have the score up here. I think we should just do 0 on this because the score starts at 0. So if our radio button get text, equals, and this is a text. And then we can, one way to do this would be that we can say if it is agree, then we will adjust our score in agree was plus if I remember. So that was plus. So that was, we add 1 to the score, which is this syntax here. Else if RB get text equals disagree. Something is wrong here. Parentheses. And then we could do minus. Oh. Yes. All right. So this is one way to handle it. And if it is neutral, this will be 0, and the consequence will be we will not modify it because it's just 0. It will not change the score in any way. So yes. So let's just check one thing here. Nothing added here. Yeah. Okay, let me just check one thing. Yeah. Okay, so plus, minus, and then we will return the score. So let's see if we run the program. What should we type in? Burns. So we can see here if we disagree in a lot of things here. Oh, nothing happens here right now. Something is wrong. Let's go back here. We made a mistake. Oh, cannot invoke JavaFX get text because radio button is null. Oh my god. So for some reason this, and it's because you see here, get selected toggle. I think the reason might be I didn't select, there were some toggle groups where I didn't select a radio button, and that's a problem. But of course, in the optimal world, people will have to select everyone. Let's see now. Yeah. Okay, so we need to handle this in some way because it is a bad error to get when you, but it works when you have selected everything. So, how do we handle that? I think what we could do the easiest way, probably. Yeah, maybe we could do, let me just close the program here. What we probably could do maybe is, yeah, we could move this up here. And we can say here if, because we're not using the question in any way, so let's just do RB here. So we just iterate through the questions, and for each question we will get the radio button and we will give it a name here, RB, and if this is not null, we will work with it. Yes, so if for some reason a user has not selected a one, let's test, let's see. Burns. So let's just see what happens here. Yeah, it says 0. Maybe no errors. Yeah, we just have the warnings, the normal warnings that we will ignore. Let's just do some weird stuff here. Bam. Yes, and we can add more. 4, we can agree even more. Yes, very nice. Okay, so this seems to work. Okay, so we have calculate. That works, and we have provided it as a helper, private helper method that only the controller knows about, and then our event handler will call this method, get the score, and do whatever it wants to do. Yes. All right. So what is up next here? Make another button that sends the score to the main window. Okay, so now we need to send the score back to main window and main controller to show the user this in the list view, I think. Yeah. All right, so how do we do that? Well, if we, let's just see here. So this is in different parts, this exercise here. Yeah, we have close, we can close it. And it wants us to, we should have another button. Okay, so save score maybe. So save score will just send the score to main window and close the window. Okay. Okay, so and it also gives us some hint about init modality. So the first thing we could try to do is, because it is actually not, it's a pretty annoying that we can do, let's take Peter, and I could, if I wanted to, let me just do one thing here. I could fire off too many windows at the moment. So this is a problem. Big problem. Oh, maybe even bigger. So how do I do this? How do I just allow the user to only open up one window? And one easy way we can do this is, so this is in main controller. We could add to our state something called init modality. And if we type, I know it said window before. Let me just take application here and see what happens here. Peter. So now I can't click here. I can only move it. I can't modify anything. So I need to close this one or work with this before I can go back. Like calculating the score and close it. Now they're not working, but, and then I can open up a new one if I wanted to. All right. So this will handle some of it. But how do we get this score back? Save score and then close. Now I made a close button. I think we should maybe divide this up first, so we can make a button that closes the window instead of using the Mac or Windows cross here. And then we have something called save score, and the save score will save the score in the participants over here. So let's do this. First, let's go to SceneBuilder with questionnaire window. So we have close, we have save score, and same approach. Do they have an on action here? They don't. So let's just hit on close window. That is one of them. And then we will take on save score. Very nice. Let's close it and let's go back. So we will find again, just find the event handler definitions. Oh, that was small. So on close window, let's see. Sometimes you just need to allow it to work a little bit. See, create method. This is good. I'm going back again. Let's just find the other one. Unsave score. Okay, so now we defined both methods here, and let's just start with one of them. The first one, I think, I'm closing the window. So how do we close a window? Well, the easiest way and the best view, or the best way, would be that we need to find some sort of node, because on a node we can find the stage. And a node is the most basic object in JavaFX. So everything, a button, label, text field will inherit from node, and node will inherit from object. So if we write node n and we write action event, because we can find the get source, we can see we can get the source that fired off this event handler, and the source is the button, because we see in the questionnaire view this is a button that has, or if we take the other one here, it is a button that takes this event handler definition and triggers it. So whenever we click on the button, this is the source. So this way I can use the fact that action event has a method called getSource that will tell me the source of the of the event, who triggered this event. And now I need to import node. I can just do this, and this is important. Take JavaFX and not this one here. Okay, and now it gets angry because we can see type mismatch, required type node, because I've defined a local variable that I need to input, or I need to give the value to this get source. But the problem is get source returns an object. But I know this is a button, so I can typecast it. And whenever you do a typecast, you need to be very, very sure. Yeah, import button, and don't take AVT, old graphical tooltip from Java, don't use it. And that should be okay. If for some reason, let me just demonstrate this one way, then we've done it. If you need to import the button, and let's say you choose the wrong one, AVT, you will get even more errors, maybe. And then you should, when you start to see Java AVT imports, you need to start to worry a bit. So then go back and choose JavaFX, or just write it yourself up in the, okay, I'm just gonna write it here. Control button. That should make it happy here. Yeah. All right, so we got Node, and Node will allow us to get the scene, and the scene will allow us to get the window, and the window is in fact, a stage. And on a stage, we can call close. So we can close the window on the stage. So again, we need to do a typecast again. And yeah, that's the way it works. Get window is actually a stage. Let me just import this. All right, so now we can see here 2 typecasts. Yeah, so we do close on this. Yeah, let's see if it works. All right, let's go here and click. We have calculate score 5. Let's close it. Boom. We're closing, so basically the same function as the red cross there. So that works. Okay. And the good thing about this construction here is that we use the action event that we have available. So theoretically, we could also do, let's see here. We have a label name here. Let me just demonstrate maybe quickly here. What we could do, we can also do something like this and say, so we can also do something like this, where we, yeah, I don't know if we actually need it. Okay, so it is redundant to do the typecast, because a label name is a label, and label is directly, let me see if I can I go and fetch the documentation? Ugh, that's not the one. Give me the documentation, where is it? All right, then let's go here. Label. Let's zoom a bit. All right, see here. So now we just have seen, now we've found the label here. It could be anything. It could be the text box or the text field or the button or anything. But we can see label. This is the inheritance hierarchy. We have label, lot, control, region, parent, node, and object. So because label is directly inheriting from node, and object by the way, but directly inheritance chain up to node, we don't have to type in the typecast, because IntelliJ and Java knows this is redundant because it already inherits from node, so you don't have to type it. And this will work, of course, also this way here. So if you do like this, and type in close, it will be able to close it as well. But this approach here has higher coupling, because we're coupling one of our instance variables to our event handler. That has nothing to do with this event handler. The label name is just a label to have the name. Has nothing to do with this event handler. So it gives us a bit of higher coupling, which is not very good. So the best way is to use something that we already have available, and this is the action event, because it is here in the method as well. So we take advantage of that, and then because we are using action event and get source, you can see we get an object. Okay, and I know that we can see here, yes, the button. If we type in button here, the button, we can see button, control, read in parent node. It also inherits from node. And I can see, yeah, we get an object, but it's not possible for Java to actually deduct that an object could be a button, go the other way. That's not possible for Java to see that, because an object, everything in Java inherits from an object. So that's why Java is not possible without the typecast to determine that, oh, this object here, that must be a node. It could be anything. Everything in Java inherits from object. So that's the reason why we need to explicitly write here, I know this is a button because I designed the UI in SceneBuilder, so I know it's a button. And button inherits from node. So that's the reason why we need to put this explicitly. All right, I hope this makes sense. So this is the closing thing about this part of the question here. Let's go back. So now we need to take the tricky part here. We need to actually save the score into the main window. So what we need is these two controllers, main controller and questionnaire controller, to talk together. And in order for them to talk together, they need a reference to each other. And they don't have that. We only do a bit of communication here between main and questionnaire when we launch the window. But we need to tell questionnaire controller that the parent is actually main controller. So when questionnaire controller wants to go back and talk to main controller, it has a reference. And it has no reference right now. So what we could do, we could write controller. We can make a function called setParent, and then we could give setParent that we haven't created yet an input parameter that is of the instance of this, and this is a reference to this object of the main controller. So this is a very, very nice shorthand keyword, you could say, to reference this instance of the main controller. So this way we provide the questionnaire controller with a reference to the parent, so that questionnaire controller can talk back here. And we could just start up by making this parent method here, and we can see it is private, so that's a problem because they need to talk to each other. We probably have an error if we don't modify this, and let's just see if we get the error. But let's just see here. So setParent, we need some sort of instance variable here. So I'm just going to write private main controller parent. Oh, so this is an instance variable. This is okay, it's private. It's only questionnaire controller that is going to use it, but the method is a problem that it's private. So let's say this parent should be equals to main controller, and yeah, we get a problem here. You can see visibility, or it has private access. So make questionnaire controller package private. Let's see what happens. How did it modify it? Okay, so it just removed private. This means that it will be, I think it's called default. Or not? No. Okay, so then it's probably the default, but otherwise you can set protected the same way. Yes. Which is, it might be what it does here actually, but I like that it is actually explicit. So nevertheless, we modify this from private to a less restrictive access modifier called protected. We could also use public if we need objects from the entire program, not just the package, to communicate with this function here. But we can also always loosen up even more if we get the need to it. So I think protected is fine here. Let's just make a like this, set parent controller. To handle the score. Yes, I know it might seem redundant information, but it's actually good when you want to call these functions. IntelliJ will show you these tooltips with the text in them. So I think it's pretty handy when you do a bit of documentation. Event handler that oh my god, closes the window. Yes, very nice, very nice, very nice. So we have this, we have main controller, we're calling the set parent. So now we need to somehow, we need to actually get this to work into the list view. And we can see we have a list view there in our main view, and we need to get a reference to that to work with it. So, and the first thing we see here is that it will give us a warning, raw use of parameterized class. It means that it will not know what type it has, but most oftentimes it will have strings in them, as we can see also in the demonstration here or in the examples. So we could, and it will be easier in some of the exercises later on, that we just provide string, and this is something called generic that we will talk about later on. But a generic is a construction in Java where we provide at declaration, when we declare a variable, what type does this list view or array list or whatever listing array, what does it have? What type is in there? Not just object. If we don't specify it, Java has no other option than to think there is objects in there, and that can provide us with some potential drawbacks later on. Give us some problems. Yes. So generic. So what we need to do now is we need to make a function, I think, where we modify this, update the score, and I think one way could be that we, when we are updating the score, calculating the score, it should actually, let's just go back to the assignment, it should be the save score that should save the score, close the window. Now we have the close window here, but let's just let this save score handle it. And we did this event handler on save score here. So what should it do? It should probably use the parent, and then it should have a method. We haven't created it yet. Set score, maybe. And in that it should get the score. We could do this in one line, calculate score. We could also make a new local variable, helper variable, to save the score in first. I know it might take an extra line here, but maybe it's better in readability. And then we could, then we just call set score. We haven't created it yet, we will. And then we pass in an input parameter to the method called score. And this will talk to the main controller and do what it needs to do in this view. All right, so let's first see if we can get IntelliJ to create it. It is here. We need to modify this as well with protected. Make a header. On this participant. So what should this do? So the easy first version here could be that the list view participants, that's a list view, and the list view has an observable list. Think of this as an array list or a list that can be observed, that can update UI controls automatically. So think of this as an array list that is a bit smarter. So get item, and we can add, now we can add a string, and we need to add, see, now we need to have the name, and we have this in txt name. Probably not the most optimal way to do this. Get text, which is the name. We can do concatenation here, and we can do the score that we get. All right, so now we have a method on main controller, and on the button here on save score, we will calculate the score using our nice method that will iterate through all the questions and find a score, and then it will return it, and then it will set the parent controller, call the method with this input variable. Let's see what happens. Mr. Burns will fill out a questionnaire. Let's see here. We have calculate score. Somebody didn't answer correct. 1. Oh, so now we get an entry here in the list view. And I think the one problem could be, I think this works okay, but if we modify it, let's see that if we just modify it, calculate score, we get a new one. So that might be a problem. But then we can fill out a new, which is okay. Peter could fill one out. And we get one there. But again, there's a problem because not very optimal here, but it works. Oh, yeah, let's just go back here to see. It should actually, if we go directly for what it says here, it says send the score to main window and close the questionnaire window. So if we want to if we want this button here to save the score and then also close the window, we need to do a bit, because it is we have this in an event handler here. Could we call on close window? We need to provide a new action event. Don't know if this will work here. Let's check. Let's see what happens here. Let's calculate it. It provided us with this. It actually set the score. Yeah, but does it close the window? It doesn't. Oh, we have errors. Okay, cannot be cast to something here. Yeah, a lot of errors. Okay, and we can see where is the first questionnaire controller, 85. Yeah, so what initially started this is actually our method call. We tried to fire off an event handler when it was not the button that actually was being pressed here. So this is not the best way. What we can do, we could make a small utility, small private method called close window. Oh. And let's see here, because now we are missing this one here. What is the best way? to do. Because you can see the problem here is that now we're using the action event here, and we want to close the window, and when we don't have the action event, we need something else to trigger it, to trigger this window. Yeah, so what we could do, we could put this code down here. We could write close window, but now we get an error here because we don't have the action event here. So what we could potentially, that would be maybe a little bit better on the coupling here. Now this is questionnaire controller. Yeah, we can see actually I gave my VBox an FX ID. This is the container for everything. So one way we could do this, you can see the entire the container that has everything also has an FX ID container. So what we could do, we could create a field for this, for the container, and then we could use the container, remove this, and remember that a VBox is also a node. So node, so we don't need to typecast it as we had with the label. And then we could remove this call to our event handler called close window here. Maybe a redundant comment there, but whatever. Let's see here. So let's see what happens here. Now it should calculate score, send it to parent, main controller, close the window. Let's see what happens. Peter, calculate. We are disagreeing a lot here. So, okay, so now it closed it. And Peter number 2 could do the same thing. Calculate score, save score. Yeah, so then I would say this is a bit better. I think it's still the best one if you have the action event here, but we're using container, and container is such an integral part of this UI because it's the parent, it's what contains all the other components. So I think it might be reasonable. This might be okay. Okay trade-off balance with the coupling here. Maybe we could improve this even further. Maybe there's always room for refactoring. So okay, so let's go back here. Let's see what is where we are. Yeah, if the name is already in the list, the program should update the score for that name. All right, so how do we do that? Well, one thing we could do, I think this is the last we will do. What we need to do is when this is not working totally optimal here because we will add the same participant again and again. So what we probably need to do, we probably need to, let me see here. We need to, let's see here, lists, items. You know, we have this list participants here, and this will allow us to get all the items. And I think we need to, do we have a stream? Oh. get items. Let's see if I can find this one here. To array. Where is it? Stream to list, maybe. So yeah, and again we get this where we need to import it, of course. We need to select what's inside of it. We know this is a string. And then we could maybe do something like this. We could loop through. Let's just take for each here, or enhanced for loops. So what we could do, we could say for each item. Oh, sorry. It's for each participant in our, oh my god, items. We need to check if the name, and I think we actually need, yeah, we can get this from the, okay, yeah. If our, let's just see here, we have the txt name. We need to check, basically, let me explain. We need to check if the name we have right now is also in the list. And if it is in the list, we need to just update the score. And if it is not in the list, we need to add it to the end of the list. So this is what we do here. We iterate through all of them. Through all participants. And if this one equals, no, if it contains, I think we will do participant contains the name that we typed in. Oh, txt name. Let me just check one thing here. Yes, this is the name we typed in when we started the. We could probably do this even better, but let's just use the text field that we typed in the name of. If our current participant, meaning what we have in this if this text here, Jeppe:0, if it contains the name, it means that it is already there, because Jeppe, if this is already there, if this one contains the name here, or the name here, then we already have it. We just need to modify the score. So let's see if it works. Let's see, we have 1, 2, 3, we need to put up parentheses. Okay, it's empty. So if it contains it, we will do, you see here, now we would actually like to be able to talk to our list and modify, because if we just do like this, if we just say, okay, participant, right here, if we do like this, get text score, I think nothing maybe happens here. You see that we get a problem here. It is never used. We don't ever use it. We don't add it back here, so that's a problem. So in this case here, the enhanced for loop is a problem, because we would like to write items set, you see, set item, and we don't have it right here. So what we probably need to do, we need to use a normal old for loop, where we say that for each items in our list view, we use size, we put this in here, get rid of the enhanced for loop, and then because I don't have this automatic participant, I will need to write here in the beginning of every iteration, I will need to make a participant to write items, get index on I, just like an array. I will get the item at index 0 in the beginning and put this into a string because I know it's string we have. And then I will check here, and if this matches, I will be able to do like this. I will be able to say items set for number I will be able to overwrite this element with let's just take txt name get, and then I can take my concatenation here, and I can use the new score. Yes. So now it will actually say something about immutable object is modified. Let's just see what this is all about. And then this is when I have found a match. We found a match. Update score. We found an existing match. Yeah. But if we don't find a match, this means that it is a new participant. We need to add it to the end of the list. So this is when this comes into handy, right? So I add my new, I think I should actually just add items, add, and we also get a problem here. You can see wrap items. Let's see what happens. I probably need to fix this. So in the end, I need to add all of these things to my new list view. So I need to update my list view with all these new items I have set or added. But I think we have a problem here. And also, I only should add a new participant if I have not updated. But this way, as it is now, I will always add one. So I need to make a condition here. I need to make a small flag here, maybe Boolean has updated existing. And just set it to false. I have a small local Boolean flag here. And then if we get a match here, we will flip this into true. I have updated an existing participant, and then I will need to break out of the loop so I'm going to break out and just don't continue with the rest of the items. I will just break out because I have found my match, and then it is fine. I have flipped the Boolean value, and then I can use the Boolean value down here to say if we have not updated an existing, I will add it. So this code will only be run if we have not done this, and not every time. And then finally, I will do list view, participants, get items, clear, and then list view participants, set items, and then I will need to provide my items. And maybe it's going to be angry here, observable lists. Okay, cast argument. Let me see here. Okay, let me just see first if this works here. I think we might have a problem here. Let's click around. We have a score. Let's have a positive score. That didn't work here. We had an error. Here. Runtime exception problem. And we actually have a problem when we need to add a new entry. So this is the warning here we had. Wrap items, immutable object. Oh, this is because, let's see here. This is because when we iterate through this, they are actually immutable. So we need to, as it says here, it says wrap items with array list. Oh, this will add a lot of more. So we're going to change the way that we actually input the elements. We're using an array list where we can modify the entries while we're using it. But let me just get rid of this one here. I need to import it. So the way this works is I'm creating a new list, which is an array list, and I'm as the input I will use all the items that I have in my list view. So I'm using a special chain of commands where I say I get the items in the list view. I use a stream. We will talk about this later on, and then I will basically convert all the items to a list that I save in here. And I think maybe they have gone now. The set is okay, the add is okay. Now this is a bit weird now. I think I can just add this one here. Oh no, let me just check. Okay, list observable list. Oh, something is not really working here. Set items, let's see. I think we can do like this. Get items, add a collection, and maybe we can add in items here. Yeah, so we can add all of our items that we have added so far to after we've cleared it. So we need to clear it, clear all items, and then we need to add all of them again afterwards. Yeah, that was a long explanation here. Let's just see. Peter. Let's just go and click around, make a scoring. Oh, if I can hit the buttons here. And let's save the score. We get 3. So let me do Mr. Burns. Let's see here. Calculate score. It closes, but what happens now if we go with Peter? And we open up this one here. So let's see that we now do like this. Now we have a very high score for Peter, and we save score. It will update it. Okay. So it seems to work as it is right now. So this is, yeah, the set score. One solution for number 8. If the name is already in list, the program should update the score for that name. But we could do this in even better ways. It's a little cumbersome to use this of a name and concatenate stuff together. Also, when we do it in the questionnaire, where we use the naming, you see here the name of participants and the scoring. What we should do, we should probably create a small class, a small participant class that has a name and a score. Small, what we would call a business entity or domain object, where we can create a new class with a name and a score. We could add that, make a toString, and we can add this to our list view, because it would be much easier when we iterate through we don't need to make this string check if it contains the name. We could just check directly on the name. But I think it's for another video. All right. I think we reached the end of this. I think I will stop the video here now. We come to number 8. Did a lot of code. I think it's very important that you write some comments, or maybe sit down, spend some time understanding the code. Yeah, we had a lot of imports in the end here. And yeah, basically understands the how the code works, and maybe how we can optimize it. Maybe using these static definitions here, we could maybe do a bit more dynamic. Okay, so I think this is the end here for this video here. I hope you make this work and have fun with this. Bye bye.